Hi folks, Simon here, welcome back to the channel. I'm very excited today because Amazon have just delivered my brand new DJI Mini 3 Pro. I have been waiting for this thing for as long as many of you guys really, and I have been using the Mini 2 since it first came out. I thought that was a wonderful drone, but I'm very excited to start getting into some of the improvements and upgrades that the Mini 3 Pro is going to offer. The main thing that has me intrigued is this screen on the controller, since of course the Mini 2 comes with the controller where you need to put your phone in. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to help me, especially as a content creator. I think it's going to come in particularly useful. But I'm going to go ahead now, get this thing unboxed, get it charged, get it into the air and share that with you guys. Enjoy the video. Right then, one of the things that caught me off guard a little bit was the fact that the box was a lot smaller than I was expecting. But then this isn't a combo pack of any kind, and when I purchased the Mini 2 back in the day, that was the combo fly pack. So yeah, I just don't know, well, I guess I expected it to be in the same sort of size box. And there's the drone itself. Wonderful stuff. You can straight away tell how the design is a lot different to the predecessor. It really is. So let's just get this thing open if we can. Yeah, just compare that to the Mini 2. You can definitely tell there's a difference between them. The props themselves look pretty much identical, however. So we've got the battery compartment, the SD card, which will go in there, and also the USB charging. And that's pretty much the same as on the Mini 2 as well. Now, I have also picked up a SanDisk 128GB card. I'll drop a link to this down in the comments if you want to get a card that you know is going to work. You can get other sizes as well. I'm not being promoted or anything by either DJI, SanDisk or any other brand I talk about in this video. I've purchased everything with my own money, etc, etc. Oh, just to clarify as well, the battery that it comes with is a smaller battery of 2 that are available. So there is a larger battery that gives you, I think it's 47 minutes of flight time, whereas this one only gives you 34 minutes. But because this is marketed at the pre-250 gram drone market, which is great for consumers since most places in the world, most countries, have far fewer, far more relaxed restrictions on drones such as this that come under that 250 grams, this is probably the battery that most are going to want to use. But that larger capacity battery is available if you wish to, you know, to have those additional regulations for the additional flight time. So elsewhere in the box, we do of course have the new remote controller. So this is something I'm very excited about. Get my fingerprints over it already. Probably should have picked up a screen protector for this thing. Yeah, it's about the same size, I would say, as my phone screen, which I can't show because I'm recording with it. But it's a lot lighter than I expected it to be, so that's good. The control sticks are on the back, so we can pop those out and put them into position just by screwing them down. Then, of course, they're easy to pop off again once you are done with your flight. And just briefly comparing this controller to the standard controller that comes with the Mini 2 or with the Mini 3 if you don't opt for this version, you can see that you've got pretty much the same buttons in play here. The one difference is that you do have a customizable button here on the Mini 2 controller, and you have customizable buttons on the back here for the, it's not the smart controller, but for the screen controller. So there is a smart controller available, but it's a lot more expensive. So this is kind of like a rundown version of that, but it still has all of the features that I am going to be wanting to use. And also in the box, we have the charging cable, along with some spare props and some various warranty stuff as well. So yeah, there we have it. That's the unboxing. Now, just before we get this thing charged up, I want to just compare the weight in comparison to the Mini 2. Okay, so on the kitchen scales here, this is the Mini 2 with the battery in, 238 grams. Now, the Mini 3 is a little bit heavier. Again, with the battery in, you're looking at 248 to 249 grams. I don't have my SD card in yet, which might just knock that up. So it is under 250 grams, but it is just under. Okay, so when it comes to adding any additional accessories to this thing, you just have to be aware that you will be going over that 250 limit. Whereas with the Mini 2, you can add a couple of things such as lights and LED, the LED lights and some other bits and bobs, and still be safe to fly without any additional requirements. Obviously, I haven't got my phone in this at 391 grams. This would be a little bit heavier. It does actually feel quite heavy now that I've held the other controller. And this is 382 grams. You know what? This thing feels lighter. Even without the phone in the original controller here, I think it's because it's slightly larger physically, that the weight is more evenly distributed. So I'm really excited, of course, to get this thing in the air. But first of all, I do need to get it charged, get it activated, all of that kind of annoying stuff, but it has to be done. So I'll see you once I'm outside and hopefully ready to go. One quick thing, you will charge the battery in the aircraft itself unless you purchase the additional Fly More combo pack, which comes with a couple of additional batteries and a hub to charge them all in together. Right, so here I am, I've just come outside, and one of the things that's a little bit annoying, I'm going to be honest straight off the bat, the battery on this thing takes forever to actually charge. I'm not sure exactly why that is. It's been on charge for nearly 2 hours, and I still only had 3 of the 4 green lights showing up, so yeah. Oh, one thing I always forget to do, and probably should, is just point out that I do have a plan to do quite a bit of DJI Mini 3 Pro content here on the channel, so please do consider subscribing if you are new around here, and if you are a regular viewer already, thank you so much for being so and for stopping by again today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get everything turned on. Of course, I have gone through the activation process and all of that good stuff. Let's just move all of this out of the way so that you guys can see clearly. And one thing I do like straight off the bat is the fact that the power button for the Mini 3 is on top of the drone, not underneath. You haven't got to keep lifting it up to press the power button or to see your battery life or any of that stuff. So I'd be interested to see how the drone handles it. So we're on 76% battery. I have not flown this at all yet. This will be my very first flight with the Mini 3. Just going to try and wait for a couple more satellites. We've only got 10 at the minute with a GPS signal weak. We've got 12 now. I'd like to get some more than that if we can, just to make sure that we have a good solid connection. Okay, there we go, 22, that's more like it. We've got the home. You never want to take off with any of DJI's consumer drones until you've got that notification about the home point. It's just not worth the risk otherwise. And let me just very briefly check these settings here. So if I tap the video settings, I can see that we are in video mode and we are in 4K 30. That's good, that's what I want. Okay. This drone does have obstacle avoidance and all of that good stuff, but it doesn't work in some video modes. So let's go ahead and see if we can take off here. I can hear that obstacle avoidance is kicking in already. So I'm currently in normal mode. And I would say that sound-wise, that's pretty much identical to the Mini 2 in terms of how it sounds. Now let me just orient myself with these controls here. So we've got an additional wheel on the controller, which I believe is camera zoom. Yeah. That motor you can see there is a 1990 Nissan. I'm going to have to get that out and about at some point. It would be a great means of testing the active track. And then we do have the gimbal as well, the gimbal controls. So let's just move away a little bit, see if I can focus on me. You have to excuse the mess here in our field. It's a bit of a working field, so. But it does give me a nice clear space to fly the drone. And I'm going to tell you straight away, initial impressions of this controller, absolutely brilliant. The picture is crystal clear. One of the new features as well over the Mini 2 is the fact that the transmission to your screen, whether the controller or to your phone, is 1080p rather than 720p. And that makes a huge difference, it really does. So then, let's go ahead now and just have a bit of a fly around the field. Just get used to these gimbal controls. There we go. So a bit more height. And I'm currently in normal mode here. Oh wow, it's so light, this controller, at least compared to what I'm used to. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Just the clarity of the picture there. I need to start recording. I was so in awe of the quality of the picture on the screen there, I forgot I wasn't actually recording onto the SD card. I am recording onto the SD card of the controller itself, but that's a recording of the screen rather than just a clear recording of what the drone is seeing. And I'm just going to see how accurate that compass is, because one of the issues I had with the Mini 2 quite regularly was that the compass was not always on point, but it doesn't really look like it is here either, does it? Let's be honest. Yeah, I think the compass definitely needs a calibration for sure. Now, it's not a huge deal right now because I'm keeping the drone in view. 130 feet there. Oh, you get such wonderful views, don't you, with these drones? You really do. Let's just drop it down a bit. The limit in the UK, unless you have permission, is 400 feet, which is 120 metres. Right, one thing I want to try then, very quickly, because this is the maiden flight, is some of the active track features. Now, the reason that the Mini 3 even has this active track stuff that we're about to have a brief foray into is because of the obstacle avoidance that wasn't available on the Mini 2. Now, the obstacle avoidance on this is not the same sort of obstacle avoidance you get on the premium drones, such as the Mavic and the Air 2S, but you do get downward, front and back, which is quite a good selection for a 250 gram or sub 250 gram drone. Now, because you don't get sideways, you do need to be very careful when you're using these features. However, even though you don't get upwards obstacle avoidance, the field of view is quite a big one on the forwards obstacle avoidance. So you do sort of get a little bit of upwards, but don't take that for granted. Okay, so then what we're going to do is draw around me there. Okay, just skip to the tutorial because it's the first time that we're doing this. Nope, go away. I also need to move this recording out of the way. Right, and there's three options. So, spotlight. The drone is going to stay fixed in position in terms of its actual location, but it will pivot so that the gimbal and the camera will stay focused on the subject. Hopefully I'm not moving too far away from my phone, because my mic will lose range if I do. And I won't find out until I've finished this video and got into post-processing, editing, all of that good stuff. But yeah, spotlight is working well. You don't really need obstacle avoidance for this because the drone's fixed in position anyway. Now, POI. Let me just read what it says here. Tap go and the aircraft will circle. Yeah, okay, so you need to select the speed on this one. Yeah, there we go. Just going to press stop. You have to be very careful here because it does move sideways for this version of the tracking, and as I say, there's no obstacle avoidance there. Yeah. So we can speed up. I'm not going to go too fast because there are trees around, and we just click go and it will go towards the direction that you've got the arrow pointed in. So again, we'll just move over, say, to the other side, send it back, click go, and you can go in a full circle. But before you use this mode, it's imperative that you do go ahead and just scan your environment, making sure that you're not going to hit anything. Now, it looks like we're in the clear, at least for a while, but you can get some really nice smooth shots using this mode. And let's stop just before we go into that tree. I'll show you that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's because I'm still in the spotlight mode, is it, or something? It won't let me turn. I can move sideways. It won't let me pivot the drone to the left. Okay, maybe if I close that down. Yeah, then it will. It's because I had it on spotlight. I just wanted to show you how close I got to that tree. And it is not liking that. It's having a hissy fit. Can you hear that? You probably can hear it bleeping all over the place. Anyway, let's move the drone back to roughly where it was. And I feel like we're going to be able to put this active track or the obstacle avoidance to better use now. Because if we go to the... No, don't show that again, please. If we go to the actual active track itself, there are two options, trace and parallel. Now, parallel, that's a risky one because the drone is moving to the side, again, without any knowledge of what it's going to hit. But, where is it? Trace is a little bit safer because that's going to put the drone behind the subject. So now, as I move around, I'll tell you what, while we're doing this, bring the phone with me. That way I'm not going to lose mic. Didn't realise it had gone back to spotlight there. Ah, there we go. Yeah, you're not limited to tracking people. You can track vehicles or just any subject really. And if that subject is moving, then the drone will do its best to follow. If I run a little bit, I can't go too fast because I can feel the mic bouncing on my chest like it wants to fly off. But I'm going to go around this tree here. Actually, I won't go around the tree because I want to try and avoid the power lines, which are just past that, since we're quite low down. But you get the idea. It's a great feature. And because of that obstacle avoidance, you're less likely to crash into something. You can with the Mini 2. Something I have been doing is using third-party apps such as the Litchi app, and that will allow us to use some of these features on the Mini 2, but you have to just be a little bit more cautious, obviously. Let me see if I can show you the drone there. Just following us around. Like, I don't know, just trying to mind our own business, aren't we? And we've got this drone just following us. And we can just select stop once we're done with that. We're down to 33%. Such a shame, isn't it? Batteries always run down a lot faster than they take to charge up. Yeah, I've noticed that it always seems to want to just default back into spotlight mode once you've stopped tracking. And I'm assuming that's a safety feature, so that if you forget to leave the tracking or to forget to turn it off, it's not actually going to move. It's just going to pivot on the spot. So yeah, that does make sense, but it's just something we need to be aware of. Okay, right. Well, 30%. I was hoping to take it out for a little fly at distance, but unfortunately I don't want to risk that with this amount of battery. So we've been going for about 14 minutes now, just looking at the screen recording. And that was, we was what, 76% starting? I don't think you're going to get 34 minutes of flight time out of a fully charged battery, if I'm honest with you. It's not even that windy now. I thought it was going to be a bit windy when we started, but that died off very quickly. So these are pretty ideal flying conditions, to tell you the truth. And yeah, manoeuvring for landing is always a bit of a pain with obstacle avoidance. I couldn't get it closer to me, which I really wanted to, because it's ended up landing just on the corner of the table, but I could have stepped back and avoided any issues there if I needed to. Let's stop the screen recording there. But there we have it then, guys. You know, this is literally my initial impressions. This was my very first flight, and colour me impressed. Seriously, this thing for a sub 250 gram drone is a beast, and there are definite upgrades and improvements here over the Mini 2, which in and of itself is already a fantastic drone. But I think some of the enhancements here, although they do come at a price, I think they are going to interest a lot of folks. But as always, guys, I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts. Are you going to be investing in the Mini 3? And if you are you coming from a DJI Mini 2 or perhaps another drone? Or will this be your first foray into the drone market, the consumer drone market? And I just know I'm going to have so much fun with this thing, and when I get the kids out as well, we're going to be able to enjoy it together and get some pretty awesome shots for the family. But folks, I really do appreciate you stopping by today. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe for future Mini 3 content. I'll make sure to keep you updated of any developments with the updates of the software and all of that good stuff. And if there's anything in particular you want to see about this drone, please do let me know and I'll be happy to consider making a video about it. But take care everybody, and I'll see you next time.